Before the relentless noise of the outside world demands another fractured piece of your attention, I need you to completely stop. Pause right here in this suspended fraction of time. Draw a deep, purposeful breath into the center of your being. Inhale heavy, restorative air into your stomach. Hold it for a sacred heartbeat, letting oxygen gather all the stagnant, anxious energy you have been carrying. Exhale, releasing the breath as if finally dropping a massive, invisible boulder from your fragile shoulders. Let your jaw unclench. Let the exhausted muscles behind your eyes soften. Notice how this microscopic act of radical presence shifts the dense pressure inside your physical body. You are entirely, fundamentally safe in this space. You are not perceived for what you produce or endure. You are recognized simply for your radiant essence, understood in a frequency that bypasses logic and speaks directly to your ancient soul. We are actively navigating a staggering, intensely complex, and deeply mystical energetic intersection. The date is the 13th of April 2026. This is not a day for casual observation. This is not a day for playing small or hiding in the familiar shadows of your old coping mechanisms. This is a day of absolute, breathtaking spiritual revelation. On this highly specific, mathematically precise point in the cosmos, we are being baptized by the crossfire of two incredibly distinct, profoundly powerful planetary alignments. On one side of the celestial sky, we are experiencing the fiery, deeply intoxicating, and highly volatile conjunction of Mars and Neptune in the bold, pioneering sign of Aries. On the other side, wrapping the cosmos in a warm, golden glow, we are being blessed by the wildly expansive, breathtakingly generous sextile between Venus and Jupiter. These are not just planets moving in the dark void of space. These are literal energetic codes, massive software updates for your human experience, being downloaded directly into your nervous system and completely rewriting your blueprint for love, passion, and personal power. Let us deeply examine what is happening within your spirit as Mars, the fierce, primal planet of action, drive, war, and physical momentum, collides directly with Neptune, the boundless, misty, ethereal planet of dreams, illusions, spirituality, and the ultimate dissolving of boundaries. And they are meeting in Aries, the sign of the self, the warrior, the initiator, the spark of life itself. For a very long time, you've been acting as a spiritual warrior for the wrong kingdom. Because of your deep, beautifully tender heart and your profound capacity for empathy, you have lived in a state of a Mars-Neptune shadow. You have taken your fiery, beautiful Martian energy, your drive, your effort, your absolute determination, and you have poured it relentlessly into Neptunian illusions. You have desperately fought for people who were only ever a projection of your own beautiful imagination. You have gone to absolute war to defend the potential of a romantic partner, fighting the reality of who they actually were, just to protect the dream of who you desperately hoped they could become. You took your primal, vital life force and you bled yourself dry, trying to ignite a steady fire in the damp, hollow caves of someone else's unhealed trauma. You fell deeply, tragically in love with the fantasy. You became fiercely addicted to the noble, exhausting crusade of being the savior. You convinced yourself that if you just tried a little harder, if you were just a little more patient, if you just sacrificed one more boundary, you could finally clear the fog of their confusion and guide them into the light. You confused the absolute exhaustion of this endless, unwinnable crusade with the feeling of profound devotion. You thought that because you were fighting so hard, it must mean the love was incredibly deep. You mistook the anxiety, the confusion, and the constant blurring of boundaries for a soulmate connection. You have been running on an energetic treadmill in a thick, heavy fog, fighting invisible demons that did not even belong to you, entirely convinced that your ultimate suffering would eventually be rewarded with the grand, cinematic love story you have always dreamt of. But as the profound, transformative energy of April 13 peaks, as Mars and Neptune actually touch in the sky in the fiery furnace of Aries, the fog is suddenly, violently, and beautifully burning away. This alignment is sparking a massive, irreversible spiritual awakening directly within your solar plexus. It is the sudden, striking realization of the spiritual warrior who suddenly looks down at their bloody hands, looks out at the barren battlefield, and realizes they have been fighting a war that was never theirs to win. You are experiencing a literal, physical shockwave of clarity. The heavy, intoxicating, deeply addictive illusion is breaking. You are suddenly seeing the past, the toxic dynamics, the endless waiting, and the agonizing confusion with a stark, almost blinding realism. You are looking at the people you tried to save, and for the first time, you do not feel the desperate urge to fix them. You do not feel the heavy, clawing responsibility to be their light. You are finally, deeply understanding that your vital, brilliant Martian fire was never meant to be wasted on keeping someone else warm while they continuously chose to sit in the freezing dark. This is the absolute death of the savior complex within your romantic blueprint. You are finally dropping the heavy, rusted sword. You are walking off the battlefield of their unresolved trauma. You are taking your immense, beautiful, terrifying power back from the illusion. You are finally realizing that true, sovereign action, the highest manifestation of Mars in Aries, is the courage to ruthlessly cut the energetic cords to any connection that requires you to abandon your own reality just to maintain their fantasy. And the universe is not just taking away the illusion, it is immediately, beautifully rushing in to fill that newly cleared space with a tidal wave of unimaginable abundance. Because exactly as you drop the sword of the false war, the skies open up and deliver the pure, golden, dripping honey of Venus sextile Jupiter. Listen to the sound of my voice and let these words sink into the deepest, most permanent layers of your subconscious mind. Venus, the planet of your inherent worth, your deep receptive capacity, your money, and your profound desire for love, is holding hands in a perfect, harmonious geometric angle with Jupiter, the great cosmic magnifying glass, the bringer of luck, the king of massive, staggering expansion. While the Mars-Neptune conjunction is doing the fierce, necessary work of clearing out the romantic illusions of the past, the Venus-Jupiter sextile is violently throwing open the massive, golden gates to your future. For so long, you have operated in a state of romantic and emotional starvation. You have survived on breadcrumbs of affection, telling yourself you were full. You have negotiated your boundaries down to nothing, just to keep a connection alive. You genuinely believed that love was supposed to be a high-stakes struggle, a constant test of endurance. You thought that if it was easy, it somehow wasn't real. You thought that true passion required friction, pain, and a constant, agonizing fear of loss. The Venus-Jupiter frequency of April 13 is stepping gently into your energetic field, wrapping its warm, heavy, incredibly safe arms around you and whispering a profound, ultimate truth into your ear. Love is not supposed to hurt. Love is not supposed to be a battlefield. Love is not supposed to be confusing. True, authentic, profoundly aligned love is supposed to be the easiest, most expansive, most incredibly safe experience of your entire human life. You are currently undergoing a radical, highly accelerated nervous system upgrade. You are being recalibrated to handle the frequency of true abundance. You find yourself suddenly, inexplicably repulsed by the dramatic, chaotic, push and pull dynamics that used to thrill you. The idea of chasing someone, the idea of having to perform exhausting emotional gymnastics just to be chosen, suddenly feels profoundly uninteresting. You are looking at the drama you used to crave, and you are feeling an unshakable, elevated boredom. This is not you becoming cold. This is you becoming pure. This is you stepping into the absolute, sovereign luxury of your own self-worth. You are realizing that you do not want a partner who makes your heart race with anxiety. You want a partner who makes your nervous system sigh with profound relief. You want a connection that feels like finally taking off a heavy suit of armor after a long, meaningless war. You are demanding, with the quiet, terrifying confidence of an awakened soul, a love that is expansive, generous, optimistic, and entirely free of hidden agendas. And because you are finally demanding it, because you are no longer accepting the illusion, Jupiter is expanding your magnetism to an entirely unprecedented level. You are quite literally becoming a walking, breathing magnet for high-vibrational, fully realized, securely attached love. You are calling in a partner who does not need you to be their therapist, their mother, their savior, or their punching bag. You are calling in an equal, a king for your queen, a queen for your king, someone who has fought their own battles, conquered their own shadows, and is now standing completely whole, holding an overflowing cup, asking you simply if you would like to build an empire together. This energy is not just about romance. It is about the absolute convergence of all forms of abundance. Venus rules love, but it also rules wealth, beauty, and the physical manifestation of pleasure. Jupiter expands everything it touches. As you clear the dense, heavy trauma bonds from your heart, you are simultaneously unblocking the massive rivers of financial and creative prosperity that were waiting for you to simply get out of your own way. You will notice over the next few days that opportunities, people, and serendipitous moments of sheer luck will start arriving at your doorstep with shocking speed. A sudden message, an unexpected financial breakthrough, a brilliant creative idea, or a deep, soulful conversation with someone who actually sees the vastness of your spirit. You will feel a radiant heat expanding in your chest, a deep, cellular, knowing that the universe is no longer teaching you through pain, it is now teaching you through joy. You are standing directly, fiercely, and unapologetically in the brilliant, blinding, and entirely undeniable light of your own absolute I deserve. For the first time in what feels like lifetimes, the dense, suffocating clouds have parted, and you are being bathed in the pure, radiant frequency of your true inherent worth. You look around at the landscape of your history, and you begin to ask yourself the hard, beautifully liberating questions. Why did I ever accept the freezing, isolating darkness when I was so clearly made of such brilliant, inextinguishable light? Why did I ever lower myself to beg, scrape, and plead for tiny, contaminated drops of water from fundamentally empty wells, when I have always held a vast, roaring, inexhaustible ocean of love right here within the center of my own chest? Why did I allow the deep, primal, aching fear of being alone to completely hijack my common sense and convince me to hold on to people who looked right through me, people who made me feel entirely invisible in my own life? You are looking at your past choices not with anger, but with a stunning, elevated clarity. But as you look back, I must issue a strict command to your spirit. Do not dare to judge the past versions of yourself for the elaborate, painful illusions they so desperately believed. Do not look at the younger you, the more fragile you, with anything less than absolute, unconditional reverence. They did the absolute best they could with the incredibly limited emotional tools they were handed. They were operating through the heavy, distorted lenses of unhealed wounds, generational trauma, and deeply ingrained scarcity. They were desperately, blindly, trying to find a safe harbor of love in a chaotic world that had systematically taught them to settle for anxiety and control. They traded their immense power for the illusion of safety because they did not yet know how to be their own sanctuary. Because of this, I want you to deeply, profoundly, and completely forgive yourself right now in this exact suspended moment of time. I want you to let the resonant sound of my voice be the final, absolute permission you need to completely, entirely release the heavy, agonizing burden of your romantic and relational history. Do not hold onto a single ounce of the guilt. Let your physical voice vibrate in the actual air around you, or scream it silently with the force of 1,000 suns directly into the center of your mind. Say this with me. I completely, entirely, and unconditionally forgive myself for falling so deeply in love with the illusion. I forgive myself for picking up the heavy sword and fiercely fighting agonizing, bloody wars that were entirely designed to destroy my spirit. I forgive myself for pouring my sacred, irreplaceable, golden energy into hollow, bottomless vessels that could never, ever hold me. I deeply forgive myself for fundamentally believing the toxic lie that I had to suffer, bleed, and shrink to be deemed worthy of a deep, meaningful connection. I forgive myself for betraying my own intuition just to keep the peace with people who were at war with themselves. I now permanently and irrevocably release the heavy ghosts of my past. I completely, ruthlessly, and beautifully sever all remaining energetic cords to the people who desperately needed me to stay small, quiet, and manageable so they could feel big and powerful. I call all of my vital, brilliant, beautiful, and miraculous energy back from every timeline, every dimension, and every broken promise, right back to my own sovereign center. I am finally, deeply, and irrevocably open to the absolute, staggering abundance of a safe, expansive, securely attached, and unconditionally generous love. Take a moment to literally breathe that massive, world-altering declaration directly into your cellular memory. Feel the actual, tangible, physical shift happening in the room around you right now. Notice how the temperature feels different. Feel the heavy, suffocating air suddenly become lighter, crisper, and easier to pull into your lungs. Feel the chronic, ancient density physically leaving your bones, draining out of your shoulders, and sinking away into the earth. You must completely understand that you have absolutely not lost a single, microscopic ounce of your true potential by letting go of this heavy past. Your energy was never destroyed, it was only temporarily misplaced. By finally dropping the sword, by courageously walking away from the false, draining, unwinnable battles of the Mars-Neptune illusion, you have just freed up a massive, staggering, almost incomprehensible amount of vital life force. That immense energy is no longer being wasted on trying to keep an illusion alive. It is now rushing entirely, fiercely, and beautifully into the rapid manifestation of your absolute highest, most abundant timeline. You are no longer being delusional or unrealistic when you dare to dream of a perfect, deeply peaceful, soul-aligned partnership. You are being highly, accurately prophetic. You are simply reading the blueprint of what is already yours. You are not being too demanding, too sensitive, or too much when you strictly ask for absolute behavioral consistency, transparent communication, and deep emotional safety. You are simply beautifully aligning your external standards with the undeniable reality of your immense, staggering, inherent value. What you are currently experiencing as this explosive April 13 transit reaches its absolute peak is a profound, incredibly necessary, and wildly irreversible spiritual graduation. You are crossing the final, burning bridge from the exhausting, self-sacrificing timeline of the wounded healer directly into the sovereign, opulent, unshakable timeline of the empowered creator. But hear this warning clearly. You will absolutely be tested in the coming days and weeks. The desperate, hungry ghosts of the Neptunian fog will likely try to drift back into your newly cleared energy field. An ex-partner might suddenly reach out of nowhere with a highly confusing, emotionally charged, and deeply dramatic story designed specifically to hook your empathy. Someone might present you with a beautiful, glittering illusion perfectly wrapped in chaos, secretly hoping that you will pick up your old, rusted sword and fight for them just one last time. They will test the perimeter of your new boundaries. They will want to see if the 24/7 spiritual savior clinic is still open for business. They will want to see if they can still get easy, unlimited access to your brilliant, healing, golden light without having to do a single ounce of their own heavy, uncomfortable, emotional lifting. When they do this, and they will, you are going to experience the absolute ultimate, deeply intoxicating and wildly exhilarating victory of your entirely new frequency. You will look directly at the drama. You will read the chaotic, manipulative text message. You will observe the grand, sweeping, manipulative gesture, and you will feel absolutely, profoundly nothing but a calm, highly elevated, and completely untouchable sense of peace. You will not panic. You will not feel the urgent adrenaline spike to fix it. You will see the sad, fragile illusion for exactly what it truly is. And with the grace of a sovereign monarch, you will quietly, elegantly, and firmly close the heavy iron door, completely locking it both in the physical world and in the vast, boundless quantum field of your own heart. By simply refusing to step backward into the familiar pain, by absolutely, fiercely refusing to re-enter the burning building you just spent so much agonizing time and energy escaping, you are sending a massive, undeniable, high-frequency shockwave directly up to the universe. You are declaring, with absolute, unshakable, and terrifying finality, that your continued expansion is completely non-negotiable. And the grand, benevolent universe, deeply powered by the incredible, overflowing generosity of Jupiter and the deep, receptive, magnetic love of Venus, will respond instantly by handing you the heavy, golden keys to the entire kingdom. It will swiftly and accurately bring you the kind of love that does not ever require you to shrink, explain yourself, or apologize for your brilliance. It will bring you the profound wealth and resources that flow naturally and effortlessly into your life simply because you are finally living in true, unfiltered alignment with your immense self-worth. It will permanently bring you the profound, beautiful, untouchable peace of a life where your internal reality is a heavily guarded fortress of total nervous system safety and your external reality is a massive, breathtaking playground of magnificent, limitless abundance. You are finally ready. You have spent countless lifetimes enduring countless heartbreaks, preparing your soul for this exact, highly specific shift in consciousness. The brutal, devastating, but ultimately necessary lessons of the past have successfully forged an impenetrable, brilliantly glowing shield of radical self-respect completely around your heart. Take one final, incredibly deep, anchoring, and completely life-altering breath. I want you to place your right hand firmly, warmly, and protectively over the very center of your chest, right directly over the steady rhythm of your physical heart. Close your eyes and block out the entire external world. Feel the steady, ancient, entirely reliable, and beautifully powerful drumbeat of your own vital life force thumping softly beneath your palm. Feel the warm, rich, oxygenated blood flowing effortlessly and perfectly through your millions of veins. That physical sensation right there, that is your ultimate, undeniable truth. That is your absolute magic. That beating heart is your true, permanent, unshakable, and completely safe home. Understand this deeply. Everything you have ever experienced up until this exact, suspended moment in time, every single hot tear you cried, every deep betrayal that broke you open, every agonizing, sleepless hour spent over-analyzing someone else's unhealed darkness was merely the turbulent, rocky, necessary bridge designed by the cosmos to get you exactly here, to this very moment, to this very breath, to this profound, irreversible, and deeply liberating realization of your own staggering, breathtaking, and infinite power. Welcome to your new life. This beautiful, glowing, completely untouchable core, deeply anchored within the very center of your physical being, is entirely, irrevocably yours. Visualize it right now. See it as a brilliant, spinning sphere of pure, unadulterated light radiating directly from your solar plexus. This is the sacred sanctuary of your soul. For so long, you allowed the chaotic, demanding energies of the outside world to infiltrate this space. You allowed the unhealed trauma of others to cast long, heavy shadows across your own internal sun. But as you stand here in the magnificent, transformative frequency of this cosmic alignment, you must deeply understand that this core has survived every storm. It is completely, absolutely impervious to any external shadows. No matter how desperately they tried to pull you into their chaotic labyrinth, they could never reach this sacred center. It remained entirely pure. Because you have finally stopped abandoning this light to go save people in the dark, it is expanding. It is pushing outward, breaking the final seals of your old limitations, wide open to receive the absolute, breathtaking best that this universe has to infinitely offer. If these highly specific, energetically charged words have successfully bypassed the heavy, exhausted guards of your logical mind today, you must acknowledge it. Your mind has spent years trying to rationalize behavior that your soul instantly knew was wrong. If these words have spoken directly, intimately, and flawlessly to the deep, silent, ancient wisdom of your spirit, you are experiencing a literal, cellular activation. Pay close attention to your physical vessel in this exact second. If you have felt the undeniable physical shift in your body, the sudden, miraculous release of chronic, deeply held tensions stored in your neck, your shoulders, or the pit of your stomach, that is the vibration of your ultimate truth. If you have felt a quiet, powerful, almost terrifyingly beautiful rising of hope blooming in your chest as you listen to this transmission, that is your soul recognizing its own reflection. That is the feeling of your nervous system beautifully realizing that it does not have to fight anymore. Do not let this wildly potent, energetic window close without firmly claiming it. Like this message, do not do this just out of an unconscious, robotic, algorithmic habit. I want you to elevate this tiny action into a profound, intentional, spiritual ritual. Let the physical, deliberate action of tapping the screen be a grounded, silent, unbreakable signature on your brand new, high vibrational contract with the universe. By pressing that button, you are sending an immediate, physical shockwave into the quantum field. It is you firmly, bravely declaring to the cosmos that you are finally ready to step completely out of the suffocating illusion of the past. It is you stating, with absolute sovereignty, that you are prepared to receive the massive, staggering, emotional, and spiritual abundance waiting patiently for you. Share your journey, your immense release, and your deep, life-altering realizations in the comments below. Declare your absolute new standard for everyone to witness. Tell the universe exactly what you are no longer available for, and specifically what you are now fearlessly calling in. Let the physical manifestation of your typed words act as an unbreakable, heavy, energetic anchor for your brand new, incredibly brilliant timeline. There is an immense, undeniably magnetic, world-shifting power in witnessing each other's profound spiritual awakening. We are realizing that the solitary, intensely painful path of healing is actually a massive, collective rising of conscious souls. Your unique story, your exact words of raw liberation, might be the precise vibration that someone else desperately needs to encounter today to finally find the courage to drop their own heavy sword and walk away from their deeply rooted illusions. Subscribe to this powerful frequency. Keep yourself strictly, beautifully tethered to this highly elevated vibration as we continue to actively navigate these massive, paradigm-shifting cosmic waves together in the months to come. Now, take one last, incredibly deep breath. Breathe in the crystal-clear, utterly brilliant reality of this present, sacred moment. Fill your entire, magnificent physical vessel with the vibrant, luxurious, golden energy of your completely new beginning. Exhale the thin, weak, pathetic, desperately tired echoes of the past shadows. Blow them away into the infinite ether, back to the absolute nothingness from which they came. You are profoundly, incredibly safe. You are completely, beautifully, inherently sovereign. You are wonderfully, miraculously, perfectly whole just as you are. You are deeply cherished by the divine forces guiding you. This moment is a magnificent triumph of your resilient spirit. Breathe. The long, exhausting war is permanently over. The heavy, toxic illusion is dead. The deeply expansive, staggeringly abundant, profoundly peaceful reality of your true, aligned new love is already standing right here. Welcome home, finally, to your own magnificent greatness.